Hey guys, welcome back to a new What If. Today we're doing What If Naruto turns into Kaguya's daughter after the Wave Mission Part 1. And sorry for the person that had, suggested a somewhat similar What If, or at least the idea that brought this to here it is to fruition. I've forgotten your name, but yeah, you just suggested, what if Naruto had like Naruto was like Kaguya's daughter, and I had watched some what ifs just to get a basic idea, and from what I can see from them, they all almost seem to start with Kaguya either being a form of like being pregnant, and that it either takes some millennia for the baby to come into existence or something like that, and that should either die or something else like that. And yeah, this ain't gonna be something like that, of course not. It's me, I do turn people going from one to another, well, from one gender to another, so yes. Though this is also a slow, somewhat transformation / becoming Kaguya's daughter, so it can take, it'll probably take 30-40 parts for Naruto to be in like an Otsutsuki Kaguya's daughter. Anyway, so yes, don't mind at me that Naruto ain't Naruto, like when will Naruto be Kaguya's daughter in time, so yes. Anyway, let's get into this what if. So start with the line of eight. It'd be the night on it would be the night of the Gato's portrayal of what's his name? Zabza and Haku. So his betrayal, that it all happened, is what I'm trying to get at. That all something happened, so obviously Zabza, Haku, they're dead, how they died in canon. I think up until this point has gone exactly the same as in canon. As Naruto would somewhat be sleeping as and seemingly then somewhat open up his eyes as couldn't look around, he couldn't move, he couldn't feel really anything. Yet in front of them was what it somewhat means to being a beautiful somewhat woman. White pupilless eyes, a somewhat light pale blue coloured hair. Yes, I know people probably say, oh, it's grey or it's white. Almost every picture has Kaguya with pale light blue hair, so that's what I'm going by. And of course white skin and snow white skin and beautiful red lips. Just not to be thinking, who is this person and where the heck where am I? As the person would then speak, my baby daughter as my baby girl, as Naruto's like, I'm no girl, like I'm very much no girl. And yeah, he still couldn't move, as then he'd feel like someone grabbed his hand. He could feel it, but also couldn't. It was an odd sensation. In a way, he couldn't feel his arm move at all. He couldn't feel nothing, just someone's got his hand, but it was odd. And yeah, she just keep me saying, my baby girl, somehow how you've grown and that, and maybe someone start panicking Naruto to the point where there would be some of it. Well, yes, they would somewhat all what this person would simply say. Then it would somewhat then go black, and Naruto would somewhat burst straight up awake, somewhat heavily panting and with cold sweat as he'd quickly somewhat look around the room and would remember where he is, because he'd be, this isn't my room, where am I? Well, right, that Bayo, the Blind of Rape, I'm on a mission with, yeah, he'd remember where he was, and, he'd somewhat see the Kakashi, though, from the somewhat light that was shining in, he could barely make out, maybe like Kakashi, as he'd say, Sensei, as Kakashi would go, yes, Naruto, are you okay? As he'd somewhat woken up from, like, Naruto somewhat, kind of like frantic nature somewhat, before he'd woken himself up. And Naruto would somewhat tend to somewhat not exactly laugh, as he'd then tell Kakashi, as Kakashi just somewhat amused that he had a very creative imagination, which Naruto would somewhat feel like Kakashi was somewhat mocking him or that. And so 3 weeks would somewhat, the 3 weeks go by, though unknown to him, there was obviously somebody else that had seen the exact same thing deep within him, the nine-tailed fox. Though to the fox, it was like he'd watched it like he generally did from Naruto, but it happened the same time, and he couldn't think. He was like stunned by what was going on. He wasn't sort of like, what the heck was going on now. And 3 weeks would somewhat go by, and the bridge would be built, and they would get back to Konoha. And once they'd somewhat arrived back, Kakashi would obviously somewhat tell Hiruzen what happened on the mission. And though Hiruzen would then somewhat look at Sakura would somewhat report what somewhat she'd done during the somewhat Zabza fight, the first and the somewhat not really the first one, but the second fight, the main fight. And from that, obviously then someone looked at Sasuke, who'd state what he'd done, and then Naruto. And Naruto would state, what he'd somewhat done, what somewhat he'd felt, some obviously parts running inside of him, being the fox's chakra and that. And Hiruzen would just somewhat nod, as he would then tell Team 7 to come back tomorrow to get the missing payment, and that they also had a week off. They would nod as he would tell them dismiss, though he would tell Naruto to stay back as he wanted to speak to him. Naruto somewhat think that maybe he could tell his GG about his dream, his very odd dream that he had. Though part of him was telling him to not to, but the majority of him was telling him to tell him, so that's what he'd do. Once Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi would leave, Naruto, before Hiruzen could speak, Naruto would ask Hiruzen if he could have the Anbu somewhat leave. Hiruzen would think, so he wants to tell me something that he considers, very secretive, or very important that he doesn't want nobody else to hear. So he would somewhat nod as he would tell his army to leave. And at that, he would then put up a silencing barrier, just to make truly sure nobody could hear, and to obviously stop any person, pushing their ear up against the door, wouldn't be able to hear anything. Yeah, he would then somewhat, though here's a mistake, could he ask his question first, which Naruto would nod well, yeah, he was in return that obviously doing doing his fight with the Haku, he pulled on the Fox's chakra. That's that power that he'd drawn upon. That had somewhat slightly got but would just somewhat nod as he was just not mistake that's all what he wanted to say, and that would then tell him what he had told Kakashi and obviously he would somewhat take it slightly more seriously than obviously Kakashi, as he'd never really heard of it, of a somewhat white-skinned person, though he had heard of white pupilless eyes. Of course he has, everyone in practically Konoha has. Though he'd somewhat amuse, so he'd go over to the door, as he would then open it up, and he'd tell one of his Anbu to go fetch the Hayashi? Is that his name? I think that's his name. 1 second. Yeah, okay, Hayashi. I just want to make sure I was pronouncing his name and not his brother's name. Because they sound similar. Anyway, because he'd initially somewhat thought of calling on Hinata, but Hinata had pale lavender eyes, which wasn't white like the majority of the Hyuga clan. So a couple of seconds later, and Hayashi would knock on the door. He was would would go over and somewhat open up the door, because a soundproof barrier was still up. So Hayashi would somewhat would somewhat enter and would go, Kage-sama, you had called for me? I should go, hi, yes. Hayashi has Hayashi would somewhat see Naruto, as he'd wonder why, and Hiruzen would somewhat Hiruzen would then walk back to his desk, as he'd then tell Naruto to somewhat look at Hayashi's eyes and to see if they were similar to the person in his somewhat dream, or that. Naruto somewhat just nodded, and he'd turn around, and Naruto would immediately point and say that those were the eyes he somewhat saw, practically shouting it, which knowing that Naruto was, for the most part, had been somewhat quiet. Him shouting was practically somewhat saying, stay away from me, in a way. Though Hayashi would crack an eyebrow at Hiruzen would look over to Naruto, would somewhat, after the shouting fit was over, had somewhat nodded, as he would somewhat tell Hayashi, and even ask Hayashi if he could go into the to somewhat read the clan's history. He would somewhat nod, though he would wonder. He would somewhat wonder, why, for somewhat a person that could be, of Naruto's own, imagination, somewhat thinking like Kakashi had though. Hizen would tell Naruto that he could leave now, which not unless he needs anything more, which Naruto would shake his head as Hizen then down to somewhat leave, but come and tell him if anything like this happens again. Naruto would somewhat nod and he would leave though. Before he'd somewhat leave, he would tell Naruto that he would tell a student of his that was currently outside of the village and that could possibly get more information on this. Naruto would just somewhat nod and yeah, he'd end up leaving and feeling somewhat bad that his GG had taken him a lot more serious than his sensei. And though once Naruto had left, Hayashi would somewhat look at his and go, Hokage-sama, are you sure? That could just be a figment of his imagination, a dream or that? Possibly, but don't forget he also has the fox, and he would explain, that it happened just, like the night of when everything else had went down, and that it could be a memory from like a fox, like from maybe the first Jinchuriki or the second or maybe even third Jinchuriki of the fox, because they didn't know if Mito was, well, he didn't know if Mito was the first Jinchuriki. No one really knew. Like, could the fox have had a Jinchuriki before Mito? Highly possible. Well, possible, not highly, but possible, and that could be no memory of the fox, like from the fox, or even something, or maybe even something else. It could really be almost anything, and the reason why he was taking it serious because he knew that most of Naruto's dreams were ramen based. Or if not, then it was saving, princesses and other stuff like that, being an awesome, ninja and being crowned the Hokage. And so this was like extremely far from Naruto's ordinary dreams. And that's why he was somewhat taking it somewhat more seriously, because if it was maybe, say, Kakashi, Kakashi, Jiraiya, or one of the other, men Shinobi of his, he would just muck it up to them having, like Kakashi done for Naruto, having a creative imagination, because for them it could possibly somewhat be normal. For Naruto, it was far from, the thing. He didn't imagine, random girls and that, He imagined himself either being Hokage or in a land of ramen and just ramen and more ramen. Seriously. Yeah, he really had a ramen addiction. Yeah. Though Hayashi would somewhat would just somewhat not somewhat obviously think to that degree had just somewhat nod. Obviously state that he hadn't actually thought really much about it, so it was he'd agree that it could be possible. It could have been a memory of the fox, and maybe his clan did have like some history or some mention about a woman like what Naruto described. And yeah, so Hizen would somewhat leave and would go to the Hyuga clan. With of course Hayashi, and Hayashi would take him to the clan somewhat somewhat library, and state that this is where that all that history is somewhat kept, and Hizen would start reading through it, and a while later, days or whatever later, nothing would nothing would come up about something like this on what Naruto described, so he'd end up going back, it being a week. So he'd end up, he was just sat in his office as he'd write a scroll. He'd be writing somewhat on a scroll as he'd then bite his thing. He'd then pull up some of his robe on his arm, or his sleeve, as he then seemingly spread some of his blood from his thumb on a somewhat seal or tattoo, as his would then send chakra into that said seal or tattoo as a puff smoke would. A puff smoke and a small toad would be there, as his would then hand it over the scroll he had just finished writing, and would tell it to give the scroll to Jiraiya as fast as possible. The toad would just somewhat nod before disappearing, and another 2 or 3 days would go by, as then Jiraiya would somewhat appear, and of course, he would put up a silence and somewhat barrier, as he would then somewhat obviously tell Jiraiya from what he'd somewhat heard from Naruto, and Jiraiya would somewhat obviously agree with somewhat his assessment that it could possibly be a memory of the fox, and that he would have he'd see if anyone, and any of his spies could get any information about a person described of Naruto's description. And though with Naruto was kind of somewhat almost once again having a somewhat it was no no and just as somewhat some scrap what I just said with Naruto. Though after his somewhat finished speaking with, after his and Jiraiya would somewhat finished speaking, Jiraiya would say that he was about to say something, as he would be somewhat cut off, as he would end up disappearing a puff of smoke, as Jiraiya would somewhat partially somewhat look around, as he'd then someone look down, as he'd go, "Pa, what's up?" As he'd go, Jiraiya boy, the somewhat pig toad, whatever his name is, has had a vision, and is somewhat Jiraiya somewhat just nodded and think, perfect. I was gonna somewhat ask him, and so they would end up going, as he'd somewhat, a couple of seconds or minutes later, and they'd arrive at the cave, and so Toad would tell him would tell him that the child of white was had awakened, and would somewhat be somewhat confused, and would ask this somewhat child of white, and somewhat we'd just somewhat tell him that, well, yeah, we'd start after a lot of awake and sleep. We'd manage to obviously somewhat explain what he'd somewhat seen, which was from obviously an outsider scene, what he'd describe a mother and daughter, as he'd somewhat describe said mother, and I would realise that the mother would line up to what Naruto had described as. He'd then ask if he somewhat knew really anything, and I think more as though the Toad would just somewhat shake his head, though he'd somewhat Dry would end up somewhat letting out a sigh as he would they would end up somewhat leaving. Well, Dry would though somewhat thank the Toad and would somewhat would leave, and would then manage to tell Hiruzen what the Toad stated, and though Hiruzen would nod, and just as Dry was about to state that he was going to leave this time, Naruto would burst through the doors as he would state that the same thing had happened again, as somewhat Dry and Hiruzen would stare at Naruto, as Naruto would somewhat stare back like, who's this person, as you'd go bad time, as Hiruzen would somewhat just and somewhat quickly somewhat shake his head and go, Naruto, and the door would somewhat shut, and he'd go, Naruto, this is my student, the one I told you that was currently somewhat outside of the village a week and so ago. Naruto would somewhat would nod as he was in time that he'd somewhat nod, so somewhat speak, and Naruto would state that the same thing, a similar thing had happened. It was somewhat the same thing, though it lasted a bit longer, as he'd state that he could feel her this time once again hold his hand, but it wasn't as it didn't feel tingly, and that he could actually feel somewhat smooth, like her. It was like beautiful, soft, like kind of smooth and soft, somewhat hand, and that he didn't know if she could read his mind or something, but he'd state that he'd thought of / asked the question, more so thought of, as he say that he didn't feel his mouth move, but would somewhat state that he'd asked who she was, and she'd said that she was his mother, which she'd say then okay, but like, what's your name? And she'd end up stating that that I must have either forgotten all that, or she must have not have told me, but her name was Kaguya Otsutsuki, and somewhat Dry would then somewhat think, okay, I'm going once again somewhat back to the big Toad to ask him some questions, and they would someone just nod, and yeah, Dry would state that he would be back in the next maybe half an hour or so. Though he'd then dispel in a puff of smoke, reverse summoning himself to Mount Miyaboku, as he'd then go to the big tournament and ask if he wouldn't state Kaguya, but he would state if Otsutsuki meant anything, and the somewhat would somehow bring a big warm somewhat smile to his face, like it meant something very important to him, as with a somewhat sleeping and awaken again. He'd explained that he'd once had a friend a long time ago, before the age of the shinobi world, that he had a friend named he once had a friend named I forgot his name. Oh damn it. Hagoromo Otsutsuki, and that he and yeah, would somewhat obviously tell Dryer a somewhat decent-ish amount of information about somebody's friend. And though he didn't get really anything, though he'd ask if Kaguya meant anything to him, which he'd somewhat shake his head, as he'd somewhat had forgotten that. Somewhat understandable, though he'd remembered his friend from long ago. And yeah, so Dry somewhat would reverse summon himself back to Konoha, back to the office, and Naruto would actually somewhat gone past, and Naruto had waited in the office, and the barrier somewhat stayed up, because I could come back within minutes to possibly hours, or even a day or so. Yeah. Though Dry would somewhat state that Dry would obviously somewhat asks the both of them if they knew who Hagoromo Otsutsuki was. None of them would somewhat shake his head, so he'd then say the sage takes paths. Hiruzen would definitely nod. Naruto would shake his head in the negative. So Dry would, more so Hiruzen would somewhat explain that he was a person who was somewhat shrouded in somewhat legend and myth, so they didn't know if he was a real person, though Dry would quickly state that he is a real person, and that he's believed to, and that he is the person who had brought apparently had brought the shinobi had brought into existence the the shinobi world, and that he's also believed to be the person that had had somewhat created the tailed beasts from had created them from a mythical being or something like that. He wasn't like he had gotten back there. And he'd say that obviously he was very much real, and Dry knew it was real because he'd seen the Rinnegan in during the second or third Great Shinobi War in, I can't remember, is that in the Rain Orphan's eyes, red hair, Uzumaki. And so though after that they'd somewhat they'd leave with Dry going back to his spy network and telling them to look out for to look for information on a person named Kaguya Otsutsuki, and what said person from Naruto's description, and he told his description what she looked like, which was just Naruto's description, as Naruto had, well, yeah. And yeah, from there a couple months would go by, as it would be the night of the somewhat, not of the gaining, or would it be yeah, it would be the night on which, like, in the morning, where Kakashi would nominate Team 7 and give Sasuke, Sakura and Naruto the forms to, within a week, enter the tuning exams. And yeah, but currently with Naruto, once again, he'd open his eyes to a somewhat whitish room. He once again couldn't look around, and once again there was the person named Kaguya, and whoever he was looking through, her daughter apparently. Though this time his somewhat entire body felt incredibly tingly, the same feeling he originally had in his arm, and he'd be somewhat puzzled, though being a lot calmer than the first two times that he'd seen this person, Kaguya. Yeah. Though before Naruto could think anything, she'd say, no, like how, yeah, that, we'd say that, that should soon be revealed, and that should somewhat, was seemingly taking some more time, but soon should be revealed to the world, and that, she, meaning Naruto, that you would be, that you will soon be shown to the world, and that, while she was taking more time, that, yeah, and asking her what was going on, and Kaguya would finish off with simply stating that everything would be revealed in time, with her fading away, with Naruto going, no, wait, he was somewhat thinking, he'd somewhat think, no, wait, though he'd black out, and he'd wake up at 8 o'clock, as, yeah, he'd look at his clock and would see it was somewhat 8, as he'd somewhat lay back in his bed, as he'd sigh, as he'd go, damn it, Databeo. Yeah, as yeah, though he'd somewhat sigh, he'd get up, he'd somewhat he'd throw off his top and his pants, as he'd stand in front of his mirror, as he'd somewhat sigh. Nothing looked different, though he would somewhat amuse that his his penis or dick seemed smaller, but then again it also looked the same size, so he wasn't sure. Though everything looked normal, so yeah. Anyway, though, and then someone get dressed into his shinobi outfit, as he'd remember that Kakashi had wanted to meet them all at the bridge, though he had more important things to do. So the news that is, that they could actually wait for once, and dude, he'd get dressed, dude. And like last time I'd actually ran into somewhat the Hokage's office and burst through the doors, being in his nightwear. Yeah, he'd pretty much just woken up and straight bolted to the office. Though this time he was dressed. And yeah, he'd somewhat having breakfast as well, and obviously going to the toilet, doing his morning routine. He would then head off to the guy's office and would knock, which was an uncommon thing for Naruto to do, because he would generally burst right through the door. Yeah, like it practically didn't exist. And yeah, though he would hear a voice that state that he could come in, so he'd open up the door and he shouldn't go, nah, it happened again, GG. Hizen would somewhat just nod and he'd go Anbu as his the door would somewhat shut, indicating his Anbu had left, and Hizen would somewhat wonder, like, was now any time Naruto came in, he was speaking about something that they were currently classifying as kind of S-ish rank. They were somewhat unsure, because it could be, like a member from the Fox, so they were classifying it currently as S rank to not, mainly for Naruto's safety. Anyway, though Naruto, Hiruzen would ask what had happened this time, and Naruto would state that, would tell him what Kaguya said to him, that he was, the person who's looking through would soon be revealed to the world, and that this person who's looked through the eyes of was taking a bit more time, but was finding that she would be revealed, and that apparently everything would be revealed in time. That was her last words before she disappeared. Someone just think, well, that was obvious, of course things would be revealed in time. He would somewhat just think, though he'd nod and he'd write that down on a scroll, and would give it, summon, give it to a Toad, and Toad would disappear to give it to Jiraiya to update Jiraiya. And yeah, though Hiruzen would somewhat amuse that, and he would somewhat decide that, with that though, Hiruzen would ask if anything else somewhat happened, and Naruto would shake his head, though he'd tell Hiruzen that he was meeting up with his sensei somewhat soon, and Hiruzen knowing what obviously he'd asked, he'd somewhat summoned, he'd told all his Jonin yesterday, the ones that had teams to, come, which meant that Kakashi was going to nominate, was probably more possibly likely to nominate his team, so he'd tell Naruto to actually wait somewhat 2 to 3 hours, as Kakashi would be occupied. Naruto would nod, and time later, Kakashi and Naruto would somewhat arrive, and just as Naruto go, Naruto Baku, you're late. Kakashi would go, yo, sorry I'm late, as Sakura would turn around and go, Sensei, you're late, seemingly forgetting, and Naruto was late just seconds earlier than Kakashi was. Though Kakashi would somewhat smile, though he'd state that he had a good reason this time, as he'd then drop down, as he'd pull out 3 papers, and would tell them that would somewhat tell them the training exams, which they'd just known about from the encounter with Gara. Yeah, with the encounter with the Sand siblings, and that stuff. I was just gonna say, yeah. Though they'd somewhat nod and though Kakashi would obviously give Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke theirs and would tell them to go to the academy within a week. To go to the academy within a week, and that they had this week off to do whatever they want to do. They would somewhat nod and pretty much. And I'm gonna skip the part 1 and part 2 of the tuning exams quite well, because it would go the exact same as in canon. Nothing would change. And though currently Naruto would obviously somewhat was going off to the hospital to ask Kakashi to train him for the training exams as for the month, as of course Kakashi was at the hospital because Sasuke was currently in the somewhat hospital from passing out from having the Orochimaru's curse mark sealed. So and though Jiraiya and unknown to everyone besides from Hiruzen, Jiraiya was in the village and was currently speaking to Hiruzen. And Hiruzen would ask Jiraiya to somewhat, besides from updating though Jiraiya would state that his spies had, found nothing on what Naruto had my mind, 1 second. Okay, brain fart over. What I was trying to say was that Jiraiya would tell Hiruzen that his somewhat spies had come up with currently come up with enough with no new information on who this Kaguya Otsutsuki person was or is. And though he'd inform Hiruzen about the attack on the possibility of Sound possibly attacking Konoha, that and obviously the Akatsuki would update Hiruzen about that, and would also and Hiruzen would ask Jiraiya once Jiraiya was finished. He'd ask Jiraiya if he could train Naruto for the 1 month between the second part of the gaining exams and the third and final round. Jiraiya would obviously already knowing somewhat Naruto and musing that this was obviously a good chance, because if obviously if it happens during the month, then he could go straight to him and tell him instead of going to Hiruzen. So he'd somewhat nod and he'd ask ask Hiruzen where Naruto currently was, and Hiruzen would somewhat state that he would believe that that Naruto would be at the hospital due to somewhat Sasuke being who'd obviously tell Jiraiya what happened to somewhat Sasuke, and not Sasuke. Jiraiya would nod and would then with the talk over, he would transition over to the hospital, as he would overhear somewhat Naruto asking his sensei for somewhat training, and Kakashi turned him down, stating that he had to train Sasuke because Sasuke had a more dangerous foe. and Joe somewhat kicking himself because he should have asked who was Naruto up against. Oh well, Naruto probably remembered who he was up against. And though Naruto had somewhat just, though you could hear the sheer, sadness, disappointment, and slight anger, which wasn't exactly that surprising for him to hear from Naruto. After all, Naruto was Kushina's son, and Kushina was known for practically beating up people when angered, so yeah, wasn't all that somewhat surprising. And that Naruto Naruto had his own way of showing anger, which was somewhat planking. Anyway, though Kakashi did say that he'd got him a sensei, a replacement sensei, temporary replacement sensei. Though before Kakashi could state who it was, Jiraiya would end up walking in and go, Gaki, there you are. Naruto would, not Gaki, you'd call Naruto Brat. You'd go, there you are, Brat. Now I've been looking for you, as Naruto would spin around hearing the familiar voice and go, hi there, I've forgotten your name. What's your name again? Driver just somewhat sweat up. Sweat up. Though then again, he presumed that it's like somewhat understandable, as Naruto somewhat in a haptic mindset when he'd first somewhat met Naruto, as in Naruto burst through in his nightwear. So yeah, Naruto was in a chaotic mindset, so he presumed that Naruto had probably forgotten his name. Understandable, though, to state that his name was Jiraiya, and that that the old man had asked him to train him for the training exams. Naruto would somewhat be surprised, as here's when it actually somewhat explained after Jiraiya had left. It explained who Jiraiya actually somewhat was, though Naruto had forgotten Jiraiya's name, but hadn't forgotten what he somewhat was, and that he was a super strong person, possibly the strongest person in Konoha, or that was loyal to Konoha, which, yeah, and obviously being a legendary signing, Naruto was, and so, Naruto would somewhat go over Jiraiya, and Kakashi would go, Jiraiya-sama, more as, or, trying to speak, though Jiraiya would somewhat ignore / send a somewhat glare at Kakashi, as Jiraiya would put his hand on Naruto and send him away. And ABC would somewhat never enter and would disappear, very much knowing that Jiraiya was a much better person to train Naruto than he was, and that he may hold himself incredibly high up the ladder, but he wasn't that stupid to know that Jiraiya could easily one-shot him and was a much better teacher than probably he was. So and anyway, though Naruto, once they would arrive at the area that Jiraiya had taken out in canon, Naruto would somewhat state that his chakra somewhat slightly felt a bit odd, and they'd tell him why, though Jiraiya would then somewhat ask Naruto what had happened, in the somewhat Forest of Death. And Naruto would somewhat explain to him what had happened with him being eaten somewhat by a snake, and having the snake somewhat throw up and that, and then somewhat fighting a, then going up against the Orochimaru, and like he was somewhat thinking, and he was somewhat surprised because he somewhat, from what obviously he could get from what Naruto was somewhat saying, Sakura was straight up his somewhat teenage Sakura person girl, was rooted in somewhat fear. Sasuke, which he presumed was the last Uchiha, was not as rooted in fear, but was definitely struggling to defend himself. And Naruto was just went up. I don't care who, like it was just like, I don't care who you are. You was going up against Orochimaru. Sure, Naruto didn't know who he was, but still, that was it was. So that, in the face of fear and that, Naruto just somewhat stared straight back at it and said, "Come on then, I'll fight you back." He was, somewhat, it means that, that'd be somewhat exactly what Kushina would, somewhat do. Everyone else would be standing in fear, and Kushina would just walk up to it and proceed to fight it, like, yeah. Though he'd tell Naruto to lift up his, somewhat top, which Naruto would do, and, he'd tell Naruto to, send Sakura to his somewhat stomach, which would reveal the seal, Jiraiya would then obviously, do the five-prong seal release, which Naruto would obviously somewhat winter and tell him to, someone might not dry though. And Jiraiya then proceeded to somewhat tell Naruto to somewhat try and walk on water, as he, Jiraiya wasn't exactly sure, like kind of just how big, was Naruto reserves and that. Though Naruto would do that and would immediately, be successful in doing it. So Jiraiya would somewhat think over maybe giving Naruto the totem contract. Though because he was somewhat thinking of having to train Naruto and put on more of the Fox's chakra, though Naruto already could a small bit of it, but he somewhat could by there's somewhat sounds of doing it twice, and Naruto obviously knew of that chakra, so so he'd instead decide to somewhat train Naruto in more chakra control. So he'd he would pull out a kunai and would somewhat tell Naruto to try and balance it in his palm, just somewhat using chakra. And Naruto would obviously state that. Jiraiya obviously explained that this was the next somewhat chakra control exercise, and Naruto would somewhat complain, and Jiraiya somewhat tell him / lecture him on the actual real importance of somewhat chakra control. Though Naruto would eventually sign and would do what Jiraiya said, though before he somewhat could, Jiraiya finally somewhat settle it and would would then somewhat bite his thumb, would go through a couple of hand signs. Naruto would somewhat watch this as Jiraiya would then slam his hand into the ground as a toad would appear, and this toad would have a scroll, and Jiraiya would tell the said toad to somewhat drop the scroll or whatever he did in canon, and said Toad would obviously drop the scroll, and Jiraiya would then unravel the scroll and would call Naruto over. Naruto would come over, and Jiraiya would tell him to bite his thumb and to write his name in blood before dabbing each one of his fingers in blood, and and doing his fingerprints. He would do what he did somewhat. He would do that, and Jiraiya would then somewhat roll the scroll up, and give it back to the frog, Toad, not frog, Toad, and he would then tell Naruto that he was now a Toad summoner, as he would then show Naruto the hand signs to somewhat do it, and Naruto would do that, though Jiraiya would obviously tell him to bite his thumb, swipe it on his palm before slamming it on the ground. Naruto would do just that, and he would lift his hand, it was a puff smoke would erupt, and there would be a tadpole. Naruto would do this a couple of times, as Jiraiya would tell Naruto to use more chakra, and Naruto would state how much more, and Jiraiya would go, I don't know, like half your reserves. Naruto would somewhat just go, okay, you'd do it one more time, slamming his hand on the ground, and this time a gigantic puff of smoke would erupt, as Jiraiya would go, he'd summoned, a big toad and a ton of smoke. And then he would hear a voice, Jiraiya, as Jiraiya would somewhat go, oh god, why did he have to summon Gamabunta of all things? Why have you summoned me? As Jiraiya would somewhat just go up and would go, oh god, why did it have to be Gamabunta he summoned for on this first actual attempt? Why? And then he'd hear another voice. I don't think it would be. I don't think it would, Gamabunta, I don't think it is Jiraiya that has summoned us. I don't believe that Jiraiya has the reserves to summon us both. And Jiraiya was just like, wait, what, he summoned two? He summoned, I forgot, I've forgotten his name. Oh, what's his name? What's the Toad's name? I'm trying to debate, it'd either be something like Gamma Hero or Gamma Ken. Gamma Ken has a plate, has a shield, and an object with two that splits off into a somewhat wide-looking weapon with spikes on it, or Gamma Ken, which is a dual-wielding two massive katanas on said back. I believe it would be Gamma Hero. And then there'd be a third voice, it would be shite, I forgot his name. What's his name? Oh, Fukusaku. As tried to hear another voice which he could immediately pinpoint as Fukusaku or Pa, as it'd go, I definitely don't think it's Jiraiya boy, as I do believe that he doesn't have enough chakra to summon all three of us at once. And the smoke would somewhat would clear up to show Gamabunta, Gamma Hero, and Fukusaku, as I was just like, great, Naruto at heart, has enough chakra to summon all three of them, and he'd be like, but Naruto, Naruto doesn't have enough to summon blah blah blah. Well, Naruto's reserves has been getting bigger because he'd been slowly turning into Kaguya's daughter, as not much outward appearance has happened. His reserves, and as a kind of somewhat thing, his control and reserves have grown at a similar rate. So his control has always stayed the same that it was, but his reserves have grown in size enough that 50% of his reserves can summon 2 massive toads, and the pretty much toad the somewhat one that has taught everyone so far how to access Sage Chakra, Sage Art. Yeah. And yeah, Naruto would somewhat state that it was him that someone that summoned him with Fukisaku asking, so what's your somewhat name? As Naruto, well, yeah, he would state that his name was Naruto Uzumaki, which obviously Gamma Bunto would immediately recognise as, yeah, and obviously see, and obviously someone seen Naruto and would somewhat think so that, yeah, he would think to himself that, so that's your brat, Minato. And yeah, and somewhat Gamma Bunto, yeah, and somewhat, and they would somewhat talk for a bit more with Gamma Bunto deciding, and would somewhat actually would obviously say this and would tell Naruto that to somewhat summon them, anytime he somewhat needs their help, which would somewhat surprise Gamma Bunto and even somewhat not Gamma Bunto, it would surprise the other two, Gamahira and Fukisaku, and obviously Jiraiya, as Gamma Bunto has never really been like that. He's generally had them, Jiraiya was incredibly stubborn, kept them coming freaking back, and yeah, so and yeah, so, it seemed like not this time. What was the exception? Well, Naruto had summoned 2 big toads and 1 and Fukisaku, so yeah, yeah, Naruto would somewhat nod and would somewhat thank him, for the privilege or that, and allowing him to summon them when he needs help. Yeah, and yeah, after that, Morphe would somewhat disappear, though Jiraiya state that they may be summoned again and again and again as Naruto gets how much chakra needed to somewhat say summon one of yous by himself, which they would somewhat nod. More so Gamma Bunto, as they would know that, but yeah, because Gamma Bunto was somewhat the one that had somewhat required the most chakra to summon. And yeah, and a couple of more summons later, Naruto would finally get and would finally understand that it required around 20% of his reserves, of his chakra reserves, to summon Gamma Bunto. And but yeah, though, and yeah, Jiraiya somewhat then tell Naruto to try and balance the kunai after that, which Naruto would, as Jiraiya somewhat think to himself, what was what was he going to somewhat train Naruto in? Naruto had somewhat told him when he somewhat asked Naruto who his opponents were, Naruto obviously somewhat tell him, so Jiraiya was trying to think of what would be a good match against a Hyuga. And around somewhat 4 days would go by as yeah, Gerard finally would somewhat, well, yeah, would somewhat think of, that, that, oh yeah, he'd narrow it somewhat down and decide that, that he was going to teach Naruto, elemental, yeah, how to control some of the elements. What elements precisely? Well, some of them used that there were three. He had narrowed it down to earth, water, and lightning. Earth, because it's somewhat more defensive, though he's that maybe water and lightning somewhat for now, though it means that lightning would be the best choice, though he did somewhat hope if Naruto learn lightning fast enough that maybe he could learn water. That was his initial thoughts up until he'd asked someone, he'd asked Naruto if he someone knew the Shakuran Jutsu, which he did. And so Jiraiya then, was somewhat now as he'd called Naruto over, which Naruto had somewhat come over, somewhat to him as it'd been around somewhat half an hour since they'd started, since Naruto started the day off with trying to balance the kunai. As Jiraiya somewhat then, somewhat time to make a clone, and he would make a clone. Naruto would crack an eye, would throw his eyebrows, but would do that and create a single clone. Jiraiya's clone would then tell Naruto's clone to follow him, which they would, and after a couple of seconds to a minute, the Naruto would then go, "Yes, I get 3 ramen datbayo," as Jiraiya would somewhat smack and go, "And how did you know that, Naruto? How did you know what our clones, not clans, our clones were on about?" As Naruto go, "Huh? As I'd go, "Yeah, it's, it's fine, Naruto, it's the jutsu, that's actually, an ability of the jutsu." As I'd go, "Huh?" As I'd then somewhat explain it, and Naruto quickly somewhat go, "Oh, that's awesome, that bio." And after finally somewhat explaining Naruto getting it, Jiraiya then asks Naruto how many clones could he possibly make. Naruto would somewhat shrug and would say that he wasn't 100% sure, though he could make easily 1,000 clones. Jiraiya would somewhat muse and would somewhat think that was an understatement, statement, as he could, he summoned the 2 massive battle toads and these, the somewhat Fukusaku sage teacher. So he'd somewhat think about, as he'd then go, as he'd somewhat think to himself, and he'd somewhat think, Naruto could then learn, say, the somewhat 3 elements, as he could have 2 clones go to the library, 1 to learn about lightning and more so electricity, because it would help Naruto and actually more so somewhat further down further down the line, more so once Naruto actually doesn't electrocute himself and Jiraiya teaches him his first jutsu, Naruto can then somewhat be able to make it not as possibly killing, and obviously water to be able to somewhat transform it into a deadly weapon. So 2 to go to the library to learn about that. He'd then so somewhat, I think, then a possible clone, then like say 1,000 for say wind, not wind, 1,000 for water and 1,000 for lightning. and yeah, as you then either that or though then he'd go, oh no, I can't someone do that for lightning because like they'd all dispel, so Nata'd have to do it himself. So he'd then use them what as he'd go, right, chakra controllers. Yeah, so he'd then somewhat tell Nato to make 2002 clones. Nato would throw his eyebrows with somewhat with those nod as he'd put his hands together as he'd shout out multi-cell clone jutsu. As once the smoke had cleared, he'd he'd somewhat tell the now 2000 plus possible 2000 plus somewhat clone army that two of them to two clones step up, which two of them would, as he'd tell both of them somewhat what to do when they'd somewhat just begrudgingly nod as Naruto didn't really like reading, though his reading saw them that they somewhat would, and if they didn't then free ramen, which they'd quickly somewhat nod and would then head to the library. Yeah, as you then somewhat tell you then somewhat tell the possible 2000 left to split off into two groups of 1000 each. A minute or so later, 5 or so minutes later, and somewhat they would as you then tell them, well, it would make a somewhat clone, as you then have the clone somewhat split and go 1000 of you come with to somewhat come with me, and I would explain what you are going to be doing. They'd nod, and they would they would somewhat walk away, drive, of course, somewhat tell Nato about elemental ninjutsus and that, and the 5 basic elements. So yeah, and once the clones when dry cleaning get far enough away dry or at least into a somewhat clean with obviously water, the said dry clone would then tell them what they would be doing, that they'd be learning how to manipulate water. As you'd then somewhat tell the other 1000 to try and to somewhat try and obviously complete the kunai balancing, and that once they done that, to just add another kunai on top of that. They'd somewhat nod and then drive one of the somewhat clones would say, then perhaps if he managed to do that, as Strike go, what do you think then? As the clone would then think 4 seconds before stating add another one on top of that, which Strike would just nod as you then tell them to they then somewhat leave to try and balance a kunai with just their chakra, as he then somewhat look at Nato as he then tell Naruto what he would be doing. And from there somewhat a couple days to a week would somewhat go by, as there'd be somewhat 2 weeks into the into the 1 month period, as Naruto would have another dream-ish thing with somewhat Kaguya, as though it somewhat though Naruto would somewhat would obviously tell Jiraiya, and though you'd somewhat tell that you'd tell Jiraiya that it happened again. Jiraiya would ask what had happened this time, and Naruto would state that not really much had somewhat changed, and that it was though Jiraiya would just somewhat, nod. And so though the best from that, though the best man would go by, as it would be the night of the tuning exams, or the night in which in the morning the tuning exams would start, as it would somewhat happen again, though Naruto would somewhat wake up, though this time he could look around, as he would move his eyes, then he'd try and move his body, and he'd look around, as he'd somewhat wonder, why was the place this time a sewer of all places? So he'd just somewhat sigh, as he would walk around somewhat. He'd look around for a bit before heading off in the only direction he could go. And after a while, he'd arrive at gigantic gates that just vanished into the ceiling, as he'd then see a tag on it, as he'd say "Seal," as he'd then somewhat go right at that, as he'd realise somewhere where he was, as he'd go Nine Tails, you there, as the fox would crack open an eye before going, "So my jailer finally comes to see me, has he?" Naruto would somewhat gulp, as though they'd talk for a bit with though Naruto, though the fox would then somewhat speak up again after, though sometime in somewhat go by in silence, by then the fox would somewhat let out a breath or a sigh, either one, and would look at Naruto and then state that it had a proposal in a way. Naruto would ask what this proposal was, and the fox would say that he could get unlimited access to his chakra, as much as he could handle, and the seal would let him have, in exchange for the ability to somewhat look through his eyes and see the world. Naruto would somewhat just look at the fox and would go, "That can't be all you want," and the fox would go, and they would somewhat stare at one another, as Naruto would somewhat ask, "Don't you want anything else, like to be, would somewhat ask something like, to be free or something like that?" Though the fox would just shake its head and say no, and the fox would then state that it was either that or somewhat just leave now, though Naruto would somewhat end up somewhat sighing, and would state what did he have to do with then all of a sudden a somewhat giant pawish fox hand would be at the somewhat bars, as Naruto would crack an eyebrows. The fox would say, "Well, what did it look like?" And Naruto go fist bump, as fox would just look at Naruto, as Naruto would just somewhat sigh as he'd go up and fist bump with the fox, with Naruto then asking if it happened with the fox, saying that it did, and that he could now leave him alone, with Naruto asking how did he do that, with how to somewhat leave wherever they were, with the fox somewhat, with Naruto still being somewhat close to the cage. He'd somewhat flick Naruto, more so just in the head, with Naruto then coming to here and somewhat rubbing his head, and would somewhat wonder if it's a dream, with him then hearing a voice saying that it wasn't a dream. And Naruto somewhat just obviously jump at that, and Though they'd speak somewhat back and forward for a bit before the fox would finally somewhat sigh and would finally somewhat just state that didn't they have to be somewhere, and afterward somewhat would go, what do you mean have to be somewhere? As the fox would just simply state the time, would tell him to look at the clock, and afterward look down, and that is bedtime. Well, yeah, it's somewhat clock, and you'd immediately go, you'd see, it's just 8:30. There's like so much thinking as you then go wide. I said, go, damn it, Dad, I'm meant to be at the the training summer exams place. As he would then somewhat run out, he was just about to run out of his house when the fox would simply tell him to stop once again and to look down at himself. Now to begrudgingly would somewhat yell, as he'd run back into his bedroom and get dressed. He was about to run all the way to the freaking exam arena in his nightwear. Yeah. And though after a 5 or so minutes, after a minute or two, now to be dressed, and those about to run that down, though the fox would state for him to somewhat eat breakfast, though not to state that he didn't have time, though the fox would state that something didn't exactly feel right, and so to eat breakfast, otherwise the agreement that they made would be off, and Nat would somewhat begrudgingly sigh and would somewhat have somewhat buttered toast and milk for somewhat breakfast. After eating that, he would then put on his ninja sandals and like that, lock his house and run off to the thing. Though he'd somewhat he'd somewhat be he'd somewhat be let, and he'd probably muse like he would be disqualified. Though the fox would tell him to send chocolate into his legs, and I would ask why, and the fox would state that that's how all somewhat shinobi obviously can jump so high and run so fast. And I would somewhat be standing and go, wait, what? It's like, yeah, but it's not all not everyone just can straight up run like straight up gaining speed. They do generally channel a small amount of chocolate into their legs. You're just the only person besides from that Rock Lee person that can actually run fast without requiring chocolate to amplify your speed, and yes, that also goes for your strength as well. Though when you're training, don't use obviously somewhat chocolate to enhance your strength and speed, because obviously it's somewhat you're training to get faster and stronger. So using your somewhat chocolates in training is somewhat cheaty in a way. Naruto would just nod, and you then send a bit of chocolate into his somewhat legs, as you then almost somewhat vanish immediately, getting up to low, let's say to high tuning speed, and Naruto would send somewhat a bit more chakra, jumping up from high somewhat tuning to low to mid jonin. Yeah, and after a bit of journeying, he'd arrive at the he'd arrive at the arena with around like 5 or so seconds to spare. And though the fox would somewhat think to itself that Naruto had completely forgotten that he knew the senshin. It was one of the just flash jutsus that I had taught Naruto, because why not? Everyone somewhat used it besides from gaining, and you'd somewhat use that Naruto had more than enough chakra to obviously properly use it. And So that's what you train Naruto in first was, yeah. And yeah, Naruto is obviously somewhat, as I say, to a drive. And with that, I'm gonna end it here, guys. So if you haven't enjoyed part 1 to this what if, tell me in the comments obviously down below, and tell me if you guys very much do want a part 2 to this possible series. And yeah, guys, hope you have a good day or not, depending on wherever you are and whenever you watch this. Stay safe. And good